Welcome back, everyone, and there's been a patch in Company of Heroes 2. Lovely. So that means that the 2 or 3 replays that I had, I still have a few of them that I wasn't able to cast from the last Winter Balance patch. Unfortunately, I will not be able to cast them. I am very sorry to again, I think it's about 2 or 3 replays, so 2 or 3 people who sent them in. I am sorry, I did not do it in time, and well, yeah. Didn't know that the patch was going to come out this early. Oh well. So, other than the skins that were added, there were some balance changes. Okay, of course, we know that. They nerfed the Maxims again, which is... okay, so they say that the Maxim Plan strategy had been overperforming, which, I don't know, I haven't been watching that many, like, high-level games lately, but that's not my experience. I don't really see this strategy being used all that much. The Maxim already got nerfed once, and the nerfs are pretty sustained. They obviously reduced the suppression, they reduced the arc of fire, or well, they increased the arc of fire by not a lot. Then they reduced the advantage that the Maxim had over other machine guns, which was the setup time. They reduced the burst duration, they reduced damage to keep the Maxim at a similar DPS because of the burst duration change. They reduced the tracking speed, and they increased reinforcement cost, and they removed sprint, which was, in my opinion, one of the most important abilities for the Maxim. And that's kind of sad. I'm not sure what sustained fire is supposed to be, but I do not know. They did appear to increase slightly the suppression against cover, but that's not the best possible change. It's not going to be all that useful because you're never going to suppress people in heavy cover regardless. So in general, Maxim just being very, very weakened, which isn't exactly the best thing. It says Maxim Squad formation change. I do not know what that is supposed to mean. I guess we'll see. Acceleration deceleration time increased to infinite. Not sure what that is supposed to mean, but oh well. Remove cover, traversal penalties for the Maxim, yes, all these things. Increase burst length by ×2. Oh, that's the ability, okay, right. And reduces reload time, so that's kind of okay for the DPS, but not exactly the best. Then they changed around the Satchel charge a little bit. It's like, I don't know what the change is. 2 abilities only behave differently with respect to targeting. Oh, okay, this split the functionality into 2 separate abilities. What? Okay, I guess it's just a quality of life change. So I guess there's 2 satchel charges, one of them for vehicles and one of them for buildings and infantry. M4C Shermans, they increased the recharge time of the M4C Sherman, which is, in my opinion, a little bit ridiculous. I never saw people using them. I mean, they're pretty good. Okay, don't get me wrong. M4C Shermans are good. But, of course, this is to prevent people skipping tier 4, but skipping tier 4 was the point of getting the Doctrine. So I'm not sure why you would go with Lend-Lease when you could just go with, I don't know, Shock Rifle Frontline or Mechanized Support now. There's really no point, because you're getting more of the same from the M4C Shermans than you would from, for example, the T-3485 from Guards Mortar Coordination Tactics, which isn't exactly the best thing because, again, it's supposed to be similar except without the building requirement. And then, of course, you also have T-3476s kind of doing the same thing from the Tier 4. So why would you go with Lend-Lease instead of, again, Mechanized Support Tactics that would give you the SU-152? Or the Guards Rifle Frontline for the IS-2. I don't know. M10, yeah, they appear to have changed a few things around the M10. And obviously that is supposed to kind of prevent the crushing infantry thing. Not entirely sure if it's going to be able to do that. The turret rotation rate was increased to compensate. This is going to mean that the M10 cannot turn as quickly. I still think that you're going to be able to crush things, but I guess this is a fine change. They just thought that that was a little bit too ridiculous, which, to be fair, it might have been. Panzerfaust's cost increased, and that's pretty good because, well, yeah, okay, now it requires a setup to be, yeah, that's something that I complained about last time, and yeah, it wasn't that good of a change. Thankfully, they reversed it, so they learned from their mistakes. Then Command Panther, they also did a bit of a nerf to that, which is, I don't really like it. As much as the Command Panther is really good, it's also really expensive. I really don't also see why you would decrease the main gun AoE damage at medium ranges. I really don't see the point of that change. It wasn't really able to do a lot of damage to infantry regardless. Then, of course, main target, mark target bonus changed to 15% accuracy. Well, see, the thing about the mark target was that it was incredibly cost effective, and it's still going to be really cost effective, just in a different way. Which is actually maybe not that good of a change, because now that means that the mark target is going to be much better at supporting either less accurate units such as Raken Burgers, but you know, that's just theorizing. Also, tracks the target in the fog of war for the duration of the ability. That's a little ridiculous because, for example, the mark target for the Soviets, which is more expensive, relies on the plane being up. And so you can also counter that and shoot it down, whereas this mark target, there's absolutely nothing that you can do to counter it. It's going to stay on for the entire duration regardless, so I don't really enjoy that change all that much. Command Panther is now mutually exclusive with the King Tiger. That's fine, I guess. Really didn't see people being able to produce both the Command Panther and the King Tiger, so that's okay. Plus range, plus speed, blah, 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 from infantry fix bonus removed. Okay, so they changed around the aura to infantry for the Vet 5. They no longer affect teammates, which is, in my opinion, a mistake. As much as, well, that kind of made the Command Panther a little bit too strong in team games, I still kind of like the teamwork aspect of it. Perhaps they could have done a bit of a bigger nerf to some other areas to compensate while keeping the teamwork aspect in. Who knows. The Vet 5 infantry aura no longer affects teammates. That's kind of more understandable because the Vet 5 infantry aura is supposed to be something that you're kind of having to work for throughout the course of the game, and then if you can just give it to your ally on a whim, then that would be, well, not very fair to the other team because, well, you have a Command Panther coming out of nowhere, perhaps from the other side of the map, giving support to, for example, big Grenadier blob. That's not exactly the best thing. Tank Commander upgrade, and that was still apparently overperforming, so they nerfed it more, as much as I don't really see how it was still overperforming. They already nerfed it, but oh well. Still awards accuracy bonuses, which isn't that bad. It says it's more than okay for the price, but it doesn't really touch on the fact that the Tank Commander upgrade, it's just kind of there on vehicles that normally aren't that good anyway, but oh well. Emergency War Speed, that's fine. I mean, never really saw the ability being used all that much, but it was indeed pretty ridiculous with the speed modifier, so I do kind of agree with this nerf. Tune up ally tanks with the emergency. So apparently you could also do it on ally tanks, and that's not possible anymore. AC threat shot got a little bit of a quality of life change, which is decent. Although, didn't they do that last patch already, that the unit had to be stationary? Maybe it was for the Puma. Yeah, maybe it was for the Puma, but I'm not sure on this. Don't quote me on it. And then ready time reduced, just kind of welcome. Cromwell got a big change, a bit of a cost increase. Then they changed around the rotation rate again because they don't want infantry crushing all that much. Turret rotation increased to compensate, just like in the M10 Tank Destroyer. Then the moving accuracy got decreased, so in general, not as good on the move, which is a problem because that's the main strength of the Cromwell, that's supposed to be very fast and be still decently effective, but I guess they just wanted to reduce its effectiveness by a lot. And then they changed around the smoke shell, how it works. You now get it at Vet 0 instead of Vet 1, and then they switched around the cooldown for the Veterancy 1, which reduces the value of Veterancy 1 for the Cromwell by quite a lot, in my opinion. But, oh well. Then it appears like they buffed around the scatter, which is okay. Still kind of a bit of a nerf to the Cromwell, but apparently to bring its cost effectiveness in line with other tanks of its caliber. Yeah, if you say so. I really don't think that this brings it in line with other tanks of its caliber. I mean, the Panzer IV is only 5 fuel more, and yet it seems like it would be much better. But well, mainly because of the gun, of course. But we'll see. Comet also got changed. Bit of a main gun range nerf, which is fine. The Comet has pretty ridiculous range. Population cost increased. That's fine. Also, per rotation rate increased and rotation rate reduced, just like those other tanks. Pretty normal stuff. Moving accuracy reduced, just like Cromwell. Rear armor reduced, which is actually a pretty good idea because the Comet's rear armor was a little ridiculous in its values. It's actually much better than a lot of other tanks at 130. So it being reduced is perfectly fine, and it kind of makes more sense now to flank it than the same scatter reduction or scatter changes as the Cromwell, which is, I guess, fine. So in general, a bit of a nerf to the Comet, although the Comet is already such a good tank that I think it's still going to be able to be a pretty powerful force in the late game for the British, although you're going to have to be using that correctly without any major mistakes, because again, now it's not quite as mobile as before. It's not quite as safe as before with the main gun range decrease, so you're going to have to be a little bit more careful about how you use your Comets. Range of the smoke shell white phosphorus. So that's still for the Comet. And it will no longer finish off infantry models. Okay, so now it's less just like all the other white phosphoruses, which is actually a pretty big nerf to the Comet, because that was kind of a feature that not many people knew about. And that's kind of sad, but also kind of makes sense. I think that a cost increase on the ability would have been a little bit more suitable as a change, just to keep the uniqueness of the Comet there, but without the ridiculously OP side. Emplacements, of course, preventing players from building UKF emplacements in the base sector. I really didn't know that that was possible. I've never seen someone do that, but I really don't know. To counterplay versus the land mattress, we're allowing the tank weaponry to target the gun, but directly in order to destroy the unit without first having to decrew it. Okay, I guess that's fine. I don't think that the land mattress is already that good. Like, I never really see land mattresses being used all that effectively. There's much worse artillery pieces such as the Calliope. There's a game balance, and well, KO2 has had worse problems due to artillery game balance than the land mattress. Regardless, for example, the Stuka used to be really ridiculous. The Panzerwerfer sometimes was really ridiculous. It's just on phases. I really don't think that the land mattress right now is particularly overpowered, but I guess Relic does think that. And any nerf to artillery, I guess it's fine, because that playstyle can be quite cancerous sometimes. Artillery cover, too efficient for its cost? Yes, it is. So the release of the ability now properly drawn in the battlescape, that's fine. Delay the barrage begins from 4 seconds to 8 seconds. Oh, okay, so that's so you're gonna be calling it down, and then 8 seconds later it's gonna start to rain down shells. Decrease the radius of the anti-vehicle shells. I guess that means that more are gonna miss. And reduced speed, so it's not possible to dodge them. Okay. How is dodging supposed to come into the ordeal? Because as far as I knew, it was a random rain of shells. How are you gonna be able to dodge them? For all you know, you're gonna be driving into another one. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna try to unravel that. Reduce the duration of loader injured critical. Okay, that's fine. Suppression resistance will reduce that incoming infantry barrages no longer pin squads, but only suppress them. Sure, that the result is pretty much the same regardless. Air resupply operation ability. Wait, air resupply operation. That's for the engineer, salvage engineer thing. doctrine. I don't remember. Which supplies an AT gun, a machine gun, and medical kits, if I recall correctly. The ability can only target capture territory, fuel, munitions, but not victory points. The airplanes are dispatched immediately, and supply drop happens at the captured point. Okay, fine. Then a couple of quality of life changes. Wreck values. Oh, okay. So, yeah, basically the value when you salvage something is gonna be different. Okay, so instead of having, like, for example, ultralights be 90 munitions, I believe it was, and then blah 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 blah, it's a standardized fuel and munitions value for everybody. So the super heavies are actually gonna give you quite a lot in terms of munitions as well, 60, which is gonna be almost an extra demo charge. The supply changes affect both tank counter doctrine and tactical support regiment salvage abilities. Yes, but see, that's really strange because the tank hunter doctrine salvage works much differently than the other ones, in that it gives you back manpower and fuel, but it gives you back a large portion of it rather than giving you some munitions or some fuel, because it's very expensive as an upgrade. So I'm not entirely certain whether or not they mean just the streamlining of it all, or maybe the resource value that you get from the salvage is the same for the tank hunter salvage kit. Because if it was, then the tank hunter salvage kit would be completely worthless, because it's like a little bit more expensive than all the other ones. Obviously, the German one is free. The Soviet one is 100 munitions, and then the tactical support regiment has the 420 manpower engineer call. I think it's 420 manpower, maybe it's 440 for 2 Royal Engineers with the salvage kits. So you're spending essentially 20 to 40 manpower, again, depending on the number, per 2 squads, so 10 or 20 manpower on the salvage kit. As you can see, 100 munitions is much more expensive than the other salvage kits, so it should be better, but oh well. Handbrake 2.0, yeah, just an update to the handbrake thing, which is fine. The handbrake is pretty good. Hold fire for AT guns. Okay, I agree with that. And then just a few bug fixes. Fix multiple bugs, but blah 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 blah. Who gives a shit? Depends on the bugs, though. Actually, I may give a shit about something. Multiple bugs with center assault. I don't care. Hold fire on looks from bear would make either vehicle permanently unresponsive to event. Okay, that's very weird. Okay, the flak after because of sure, that's pretty good to fix. Comet promo white phosphorus would sometimes fail to trigger properly. That's too bad, because now it's useless. Fixed an issue where the firearm of the machine for British faction was smaller than that of other armored vehicles. Okay. Separate flamethrower now correctly takes up 1 slot. I guess it took up 2? I don't know. Separate flamethrower is now mutually exclusive with Minesweeper upgrade. Wait, wasn't it before already? I thought it was. Weird. Fixed an issue where Sapper Flamethrower was dealing additional damage with spawn and cover. Oh, above the... because what I was about to say, they do additional damage versus squads and cover. All of them. But it says above the level of flamethrowers. Fixed a bugger where with sappers where veterancy affected the numbers of upgrades available to them. Oh, that's a bunch of weird shit. So I guess this is the end of the patch. I'm gonna cast a game very quickly from kotu.org showcasing the patch. I guess it's fine. Not as extensive, obviously, as the winter balance patch, but it hasn't been in the works for quite as long. Some changes are a bit overwhelmingly harsh on some units. Other ones kind of make sense. Like, I guess this one does make sense. This one makes sense. This one is weird. Then weird. Makes sense. Makes sense. Weird. Very weird, actually. Kind of too harsh. Makes sense. Weird. I didn't even know that was the thing. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So, other than the artillery cover, nothing really too good to come out of this patch. But nothing really too bad either. I mean, they destroyed the Maxim, sure, but I didn't use Maxims anyway, so I don't care. No, it's still really weird. I'm gonna have to see whether or not the maxims are still useful. Of course, it's a suppression unit, so it's gonna be useful, but its usefulness may be a little bit limited. Oh well, gonna see you in game. I'm not sure if it's gonna go up today or tomorrow or in the next few days, but when it is gonna be up, there's gonna be a link to the top right now on the screen. So click it, and you'll be able to look at the cast to get a bit of practice going in the patch. And yeah, want to thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the patch. Tell me what you think about it in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon.